Okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And so let's go ahead and begin. This is the Planning Commission meeting Thursday, January 12th. Sorry for the delay, but we'll go ahead and start with our flag salute. Please stand and face a flag near you or a direction that one might be in. And join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, liberty
and justice for all. I don't know if we were in unison there, but I think we probably did our best. All right, let's begin with the roll call.
Commissioner Powers.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner DeMattei.
Here.
Commissioner Dahlgren.
Here.
Commissioner Herzog.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, again, sorry for the delay, everyone. Hopefully we've got everyone connected here. We're going to start with the statement. This is an online meeting only. And so welcome everyone. Today's Planning Commission meeting is open to virtual only attendance and may be observed online through the Placer County website. In an effort to encourage the public to engage in the process, public comment for this meeting will be offered remotely. If you would like to make public comment virtually, please raise your hand with the hand icon at the bottom of the page. If you're calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. Please be prepared to speak at the time I open public comment or another chair for the specific item you would like to address, which may include public comment for matters not on the agenda, a consent item, or a timed item. Each commenter will be entitled to 3 minutes of comment time. Thank you for your patience as we work to preserve the safety and health of all meeting participants and to ensure that each citizen who wishes to comment has the opportunity to do so. Also, please be advised that this is being recorded. Let's go ahead and move to the oath of officers. We had some newly appointed, including myself, or not newly appointed, but reappointed and newly appointed. And so we'll go ahead and move to the oath of office.
Yes. So I think the best way to handle this would be to start off and do each one of these individually since we're doing this through Zoom. So I would ask for the reappointed seat 1, which I believe is Commissioner Dahlgren, if you could start it off. And the way this will work is the clerk will start off and then you would repeat the oath after her.
Got it. I can't hear anything.
Just 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead and repeat after me. I, please state your name here, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Okay, you're gonna have to go sentence by sentence.
We might, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have that kind of memory.
Okay, I, and state your name here, do solemnly.
I, Robin Dahlgren,
Do
do
solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or
Purpose of evasion.
purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahlgren. The next one would be Commissioner Herzog. You could raise your right hand and repeat after the clerk.
I state your name.
I, Nathan Herzog,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you, Commissioner Herzog. Commissioner Powers, you're next. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after the clerk.
Oops, hang on.
I, and state your name,
I, I, Bridget Powers, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and I don't remember the last part.
and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And faithfully discharge the duties of which I am about to enter.
All right, congratulations, everyone. We're going to move to the Planning Commission selection of officers in the new year. It's been a pleasure to serve in this role for you guys. I appreciate and respect each one of your opinions and thoughts. And I want to congratulate you on a successful year. And certainly, Cedra and the Planning Department, thank you for all of the work you've done last year. It's been an honor to serve as chair and to serve alongside my colleagues. And now it's time for someone else to take this role. And so I'm open to, we'll start with the selection of the 2023 chairman, and I'm open to recommendations. If you want to have a discussion about it as a group, that's fine. But typically what we've done is a rotation, and we're out of maybe our normal rotation and perhaps even a structure way as we've had some transitions. And so typically we've gone from secretary to vice chairman to chairman. We don't have to follow that, but we can discuss it. Or I'm open to a motion.
And actually, before we take a motion, there should be commissioner discussion, but there would also need to be public comment if any members of the public might be interested in this.
Okay. Any discussion?
Perfect. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Bridget. Sorry.
When you're ready, I'm prepared to make a motion to support Richard Johnson as the next chair.
Okay. Clayton, do I do public comment for each one of these individually, or can we do them together?
So I would suggest that we do public comment for the entire item, which would be selection of the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. And then after that, you can make the motions, and I would suggest motions for each one of these individually.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to open public comment for items A, B, and C under Planning Commission selection of officers. Go ahead and raise your hand online or press *9 to unmute yourself if you're called on. And Andrea, I'm going to need your help to see if there's any raised hands.
We have no one.
Is there any delay?
No.
Okay, then at this moment, I'll close public comment and we'll go ahead and move to more discussion or a motion from commissioners.
I will second Bridget's motion to have Richard Johnson as chair.
Bridget, can you restate the motion?
Yeah, I'll make an official. It is a pleasure for me to nominate Richard Johnson as the next chair for the Planning Commission. His work and dedication is seen throughout the community, and it's an honor to nominate him.
I'll second that.
First and a second, we'll do a roll call vote.
I have a first from Commissioner Powers and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shall I finish this item out, Chairman, or would you like to take?
I think for matters of this item, maybe we'll just proceed all the way through the selection and then we'll make the transition after this item's done.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to the selection of vice chairman. We've already held public comment for this, and I'll entertain a motion or discussion from commissioners.
Well, I would make a motion for Anthony DiMattei to be the vice chairman.
I'll second that motion.
First and a second, let's do a roll call vote on that.
I have a first from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Powers. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye. Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the last selection of officer will be secretary.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I believe the next order would be for Robin's position to hold the secretary position. As a new planning commissioner, I have enjoyed working with her and watching her be one of the most informative, research, well-spoken, does an excellent job as a planning commissioner, and it's an honor to nominate her.
Thank you, Bridget.
I will second that.
First and a second, let's do a roll call vote.
I have a first from Commissioner Powers and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Oh, yeah. Chairman Johnson, go ahead and take it.
Okay, well, thank you folks for your kind words and helping us to come up with our ideas for next year's Planning Commission meeting. Let me see, we'll move on to the next item, which is really the report from the planning director. So Chris, you're on.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson, and congratulations to the commissioners who got reappointed, Commissioners Dahlgren, Powers, and Herzog. Well-deserved reappointments to the commission for this year. Some sad news. Everyone's probably heard that Commissioner Hauge resigned his spot on the commission at the end of last year. The recruitment process to replace that District 5 vacancy is just starting as we speak. So hopefully within the next 6 to 8 weeks, we have someone joining you on the commission. Some information was sent out regarding the Planning Commissioners Academy happening end of March. We've heard back from a few of you that are wanting to attend. If anyone else wants to attend, please reach out to me or Andrea in the next few days. Apologize that we switched to a remote hearing for today. We've had some COVID issues in the building, so for the safety of everyone, we switched this to remote. Also apologize for the technical issues, but I'm glad we're back on track and things seem to be going smoothly, knock on wood. Next week, on the 19th, we're scheduled to be up in Tahoe, but as you know, the weather has been iffy. So what we're proposing to do is potentially move that hearing down to Auburn if the weather is bad. So we will let you know and the public know 24 hours before that hearing of the location. It's either going to be in Kings Beach if the weather is good, or in Auburn in the commission hearing room. So we are sending.
Chris, could we do 48 hours instead of 24? Give us a little more room.
Clayton, what do you think?
I think we did send out an amended notice of availability of the EIR for the project that's going to be heard, the Palisades project. I think last night indicating we would provide 24-hour notice.
Oh, okay,
and it would
never
require
mind.
an amended notice, but I think for our purposes, we will certainly strive to be 48 hours, and I think that is doable. We just can't change that notice at this point without sending a mailing out to 1,000+ people. So,
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Clayton. For February 9th meeting, we don't have any items yet, so that could potentially be canceled. It's scheduled to be in Auburn. And then one item of note is this should be my last planning director report. We do have a new director starting next week, Tuesday. Chris Bahuli will be joining us. He comes to Placer County from Sacramento County, and his first day is next week. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
You picked a good name.
Yeah, we've appreciated having you, Chris. You've done
Yeah.
a great job. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure and a steep learning experience. But
Yeah.
I appreciate all that you do.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So at any rate, I guess now at this point in time, we'll open it up for public comment on any item that's not on the agenda today. Oh,
and Chair, for this item and all the items today, I would just suggest giving it probably 30 seconds or so, just in case people need to raise their hands online. To give them the opportunity to do that, but and then if the clerk hasn't indicated anybody else is raised their hand and interested in public comment, then you can move on.
We do have one.
okay, do we have anybody who wants to make a comment?
Hi, caller, can you go ahead and unmute your mic, and you'll have 3 minutes to make a comment? And this is for the phone number ending in 9433. If you can unmute, you can go ahead and begin making your comments.
Sounds like we can't get them to unmute and connect, so I guess my suggestion would be for that number 9433 to keep trying to reconnect, and suggest that the chair move forward with the regular agenda, and if by some chance they are able to reconnect, perhaps we can bring them back in.
Okay, well, I guess we'll move on and maybe give them another chance after we look at the consent agenda. And if anybody would like to pull an item from the consent agenda, raise your hand. Or commissioners, if you would like to pull an item, let us know.
For everyone's reference too, there's 2 items on the consent agenda. One is approval of the 23 Planning Commission meeting calendar, and the second is the Lake Vista Estates extension of time.
Okay, is there a motion?
don't we need public
Prior
comment?
to that, I would see if any of the commissioners would like to pull the item. If not, then if members of the public would
Oh,
like to
okay.
pull the item.
I thought I did that, but any commissioners like to pull an item?
No.
Okay, we have two items, A and B. And so,
Is there
I'd
any
entertain a
members
motion
of
at
the
this time.
public that would like to pull one of these items?
well, somebody wants to pull one?
Hi, Denise, are you calling?
Is this an opportunity for the public to make a comment regarding Vista Lagos Estates?
Yes, this is to see if you'd like to pull an item from consent.
It's Ms. Holden. So right now we're just asking if the item should be pulled from consent. If you have an interest in commenting on that item, I would suggest then that we pull it and then receive staff presentation, and then Ms. Holden, you would have an opportunity to provide comment after staff's presentation of the item.
I'll do that. Thank you.
She didn't want to pull it?
No,
did.
she did.
She did?
She went, yeah, so Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent item minus item B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
I have a first from Commissioner Powers and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we'll need to have a presentation from staff on item B. And so, huh? Oh, okay.
So
Is
Jared,
Jared there? Okay, Jared,
Yes, I'm here.
would you like
Let me
to?
go
make a
ahead
s-
and share my presentation.
Yeah,
yes, please.
All right. Can we all see the presentation screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And if the presentation messes up, please let me know and I will do my best to fix it. All right. So, hello everybody. My name is Jared Peters. I'm an assistant planner. I was the planner for this project, the Lake Vista Estates extension of time. So Lake Vista extension, Lake Vista Estates.
Hey, Jared, sorry to interrupt. Can you click the got it box on your live caption and subtitles? Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Thank-
All right, so Lake Vista Estates, the applicant is requesting the approval of a 2-year extension of time for a previously approved tentative subdivision map and conditional use permit for Lake Vista Estates project PLN 1400221, which would allow a 15-lot single-family unit planned residential development, including 10.49 acres of open space and multi-purpose trails. So the project is located at the intersection of Boulder Road and Walden Woods Way in Granite Bay. The project area is zoned residential agriculture, combining minimum building site of 20 acres with a planned development of 0.44 housing units per acre. The project site in total is 35.84 acres with 15 lots. Lot sizes would range from 1.15 to 2.14 acres. And this project was initially approved July 26, 2016, with an initial expiration date of July 26, 2019. This would be the second extension of time that the project had received. The project was previously received a 2-year extension of time in 2019 and an 18-month extension in 2021 under AB 1561, which extended the project's expiration dates to January 26, 2023. If approved, this extension of time would put forth a new expiration date of January 26, 2025. So staff is recommending approval of a 2-year extension of time request, the Lake Vista Estates vesting tentative subdivision map and conditional use permit in reliance on the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration and the modified conditions of approval as recommended by staff based on the findings contained in the staff report. That's all, and I'm available for questions.
Okay, any questions from Planning Commission? Seeing or hearing none, is the applicant available online?
This is Jerry Applis, the applicant for Burrell Consulting Group. On behalf of the ownership, we're present online, if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Thank you. I'm here to answer any questions that the commission or the public may have.
Okay, at this time, I'm not hearing any questions from the commission. And so if you'd like to hear from the public, then we can go ahead and open the public comment meeting.
Denise, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Denise, you can unmute yourself and begin making your comment. You'll have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, my name's Denise Holden. I'm a resident on Boulder Road. The address is 6720 Boulder Road, and I'm approximately 500 feet or so from one of the lots. That's probably the easiest way to say that is closest to what is now the easement, which is adjacent to State Park. I have a couple of questions. I've lived in Walden Woods. I've lived on Boulder Road since 1983. And so I have a very good understanding of our community and the neighborhood here, and have served on the Walden Woods Homeowners Association for many years in various capacities. Although I am not a current board member, I went to their meeting last night and had a discussion with them. And although the Walden Woods Homeowners Association did not oppose the development, and I still don't think they do, we do have a couple of concerns, and I'd like to bring those up today. Number one, we're concerned that I don't see anything in the documents or the negative mitigation that the construction trucks won't go down Walden Woods Way. It's unlikely, but there's nothing in there that says they can't do that. So we'd like that addressed. My primary concern is the speed limit on Boulder Road. A number of years ago, the residents on Twin Rocks and Boulder petitioned the Board of Supervisors to reduce the speed limit. At that time, Twin Rocks was dropped to 30 miles an hour, as was Boulder. And subsequent to that change, Boulder Road's been changed again to up the speed limit to 35. I'd like for the county to reconsider that speed limit as they consider this project. I'd like that speed limit to be reduced again. It makes no sense to me that you come out of Walden Woods or the proposed development at 25 miles an hour, drive down Boulder Road at 35 miles an hour, only to turn the corner to reduce your speed to 30 miles an hour. So I'd like Boulder Road to be reduced to 30 miles an hour, but preferably 25 for all the interior roads here in and around the development, which would also include Twin Rocks Road. I'm curious about the easement and access into the state park. I see that there's a proposal for a new easement, but for public access, but I'm curious about the current easement, which runs east-west on the south side of the development, and if that will remain in place as well. Right, that's the end of my comments, and thank you for your time.
Okay, is there any other members of the public that would like to make a comment?
Yes. Hi, Patrick. If you could go ahead and unmute, state your name, and begin making your comments. You'll have 3 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Patrick Calderoni. My property is directly adjacent to the proposed site. It backs up to Boulder Road, essentially where they're showing that adjusted trailhead to access the trail system. One of my concerns is back in 2019, I attended the board meeting in person, and we had a simple request to allow the 2-year extension, which was to have the property owner review their property and spend some time cleaning the fire hazard down material on their property. We've had fires on Boulder Road. We've had situations along Boulder Road where we've had to have traffic moved to try to eliminate potential fires. And it should be the responsibility of the landowner to make sure that their property has been properly maintained. My second item, which I would agree with Denise on, is working to adjust that speed limit to a more realistic speed limit. As we all have kids and grandkids running around the neighborhood, it's a quiet and peaceful neighborhood until a car comes racing down a road with a posted speed limit of 35. And as we all know, if the speed limit's posted is 35, we probably have people going 40 or 45. So I would support Denise's request on adjusting that speed limit to something more realistic, like our neighborhood traffic, which would be a maximum of 25. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments from the public?
Yep. Hi, Sean. You can go ahead and unmute your mic. Please state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Hi, yes, my name is Sean Gallinger. I represent an adjacent property owner as well. And I had 2 comments, questions I'd like on the record. One is, would this plan development change any of the requirements for future development for adjacent properties? And 2, has there been any environmental research done regarding the endangered species because of the sagebrush? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One more. Hi, Denise. Can you go ahead and unmute your mic? Please state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Hi, this is Denise Duran. We live adjacent to the proposed lots 15 and 14 on the Los Lagos side, Vista de Lago. There's a lot of dry shrubs and bushes and trees that have not been addressed. And we've had the same thing. We've had some fire issues back there. We've made a request in 2018 to have some cleanup done to a Buljan Jovic. Is that the same property owner? Hello?
Yeah,
I believe
we'll have to
in the
answer
staff
your
report.
question, later with the applicant.
I'm sorry?
We'll have to answer your question with the applicant when the applicant speaks.
Okay, and we also have a downed tree that has crushed our fence, so I need to have that repaired. We did notice the county was out maybe 5 or 6 months ago tagging trees. What was the purpose for tagging the trees?
Is that on the applicant's property?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll let him answer that question when let the applicant speak again.
Thank you.
Mr. Rand, do you have any other comments you'd like to provide on the project before the
No,
applicant
thank you.
speaks?
Is that it?
Yes, no one else.
Or said no more? Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, so, well, I'll close the public comment period. And so the applicant, you're still online. If you'd like to say anything, maybe address the questions that came up.
Chair, if I might say something before the applicant speaks.
Oh, okay.
I just would like to note that this project, the merits of the project were considered and evaluated by the Planning Commission in 2016. Then an extension of time was issued in 2019. The item before the Planning Commission today is an extension of time for 2 years. And in looking at that extension of time, there's 3 things you'd be looking at: whether there's changes proposed to the project, whether there's changes in conditions or circumstances that have occurred since the project approval, and then also has the applicant been diligent in pursuing implementation of the project. So some of the comments today had to do with the overall merits of the project in the first place, and I would suggest that that is not squarely in front of the commission today.
Okay, Jerry, would you like
Yes,
to?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to address the appropriate comments based upon the feedback that was just given to the public and the commission just a moment ago. And that, I think there's some comments, several people commented about the cleanup of some fire hazards. And let me give you a little bit of history. There was a name that was mentioned earlier. The property owner previously was a gentleman named Vuja Jovic, and he no longer owns the property. They ran into some financial difficulties. The property was foreclosed upon. There's a new owner as of about, and don't quote me exactly, probably about 6 months ago, that we're working for on behalf of them to secure this extension. What I can do is will be in contact with them this afternoon, and I could relay to them the concerns about some cleaning up the property for some fire hazards and so forth on the property. I'll make that commitment to the members of the public that made that comment. There was a question about tagging of some trees. And again, that's done by the environmental consultant in addressing the conditions of approval of the project that were attached to the subdivision approval. And we have an environmental consultant working on the environmental permit. So that was what the efforts were on that. Those were not county forces, those are private consultants. I think those are the issues that were brought up with respect to the extension of time. And I know there's some comments about speed limits, but that's not, in my opinion, and maybe the staff member could confirm that, is not part of the purview of this extension of time request. So I can't address that. Of course, obviously, I don't work for the county either, so I can't address that. But with that, I believe I've addressed all the appropriate comments, and I'd be happy to address any other questions that the commission may have.
Okay, well, thank you. And I guess at that point, I'll bring it back to the commission and see if there's any discussion or questions that the commission would like to make.
There was one comment that the fourth speaker said about a tree being down on a common fence. Jerry, is that something you could talk to the landowner about?
I will be, definitely, yes. I'm
Okay.
taking notes as we speak of the names and the comments that were made.
Okay, thanks. That was the only thing I didn't hear, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
I apologize for not mentioning
Oh,
it.
no worries. Thank you.
Chair, I don't know if staff might want to respond to any of the questions as well.
We have Michelle Lewis with Engineering and Surveying.
Yes, thank you. This is Michelle Lewis with Engineering and Surveying. And although I agree that the speed on the road isn't part of the consideration for the extension of time, I did want to speak to that briefly and state that the speed of the roads, can you guys hear me okay? I guess I should double check that.
Yes.
Okay, the speed of the roads is determined based on the engineering of the road and traffic surveys, and they base it on at the time that this survey was done before, when it was adjusted to 35 miles per hour, the 85 percentile speed for that road was like 36.4. So it was rounded down to 35. So, you know, what would need to happen for that speed to be adjusted is a new study would need to be performed. And, you know, the community, there's a process for that the community can work with DPW to do that. But again, it is unrelated to this extension of time.
Okay, thank you.
We do
Sure.
have one hand raised. We have one hand raised. It was from the number earlier. Do you want to try them again?
This is somebody from what now?
The phone number where we were trying to get them to unmute. They have their hand raised to comment on this item.
Okay, well, let's close out this item first, and then we'll go back to that person.
Chair, if I may, I don't know if that number was planning to comment on this item. If so, I'd suggest perhaps we give them the opportunity to provide comment. Certainly if they're commenting as a general matter, not on this item, then we could ask them to wait until later.
Okay.
Hi. Caller. Oh, there you are.
Hello?
Hi. Can you state your name for the record and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comment? This is on the Lake Vista Estates.
Steve Schaefer, yes, it's on the Lake Vista Estates. My apologies. There's no instruction how to unmute, so I hit *9 raising my hand like crazy, so I apologize. My questions are similar with traffic issues. I don't know what kind of surveys were done, but I'm concerned because the equestrian center that project surrounds is also for sale now. And I don't know what that's zoned or what kind of development potential might be happening or potentially occurring there. But for really small, narrow streets, we do have a shocking amount of traffic through Walden Woods of people using it to get to the back area there. So that's one concern. This was approved back in 2016, which I have to admit it's my own negligence for not following through all of this. The property has changed hands numerous times in the 25 years I've lived here, so kind of tough to keep up on things when you're not really paying attention. My error. I do have concerns also about the easements. They're wonderful for the community, but who polices those? Because the easements are turning into free parking for those that don't want to pay to go into the state park. And I thought they were designed to be community pedestrian / horse easements, not the local bike club that come from all over the area to park for free in the dry grass. So fire concerns are also of a very high concern. So I think that wraps up my general questions. By the way, I border to both Walden Woods and the approved project.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess we open and we'll close public comment again. And go back to, I think we're talking about the same issues. Jerry, if you want to say some more, you're welcome to do that.
Let's see. Yeah, okay, I'm not muted. So I thought I heard, there were some questions about the equestrian center. We know that they're for sale. I know my client is in discussions with them, but I don't know if that's going forward or not. But that's a separate property and I don't know what they're going to do with that. I think I heard about the speed limits again, which we already talked about doesn't apply. So those are the main comments that I heard. And then the easements, the maintenance of the easements is going to be, I think, if I recall correctly, we're going to set up a homeowner association for the easements and maintain the open space for that. And then the rest of the easements are going to be open to the public for equestrian and pedestrian trails, as conditioned by previous 2016.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Jerry, there was a comment from Mr. Schaefer about parking, people coming in who don't live in the Walden Woods area and parking on dry grass areas. Is that property owned by your client, or is that public property? Where are they parking that maybe is
Well,
conducive?
I'm not sure where they're parking at. I know there's state property, the property is just to the south of us is owned by the state of California, as well as the property towards Folsom Lake is federal property by the Folsom Lake property. I'm not sure if they're parking on that property or our property. Once, generally the property that is a subject to this extension is, I'll call it vacant, and it's possible that people could park in that on the property now. Once it gets developed, it'll all be secured such that, I think we're going to put some probably, I would guess, and this may not be the final answer, but some kind of fencing along there so nobody can park on the property. Could they park along the edge of the road? That would still be physically possible, just like you could park along any edge of any road. And that's all county right of way that would be patrolled and secured by the sheriff's department.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay, okay, well, we're with the commission now. And so if anybody's got more discussion points or questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair? Oh, sorry. Did you have something, Nathan?
Go ahead, Bridget. Go ahead.
I say, Mr. Chair, based on county council's comments, it appears that new ownership is the reason for asking for the extension because they have to get their hands around the project. And also, based on having some surveyors out there tagging some of the trees, it appears that they're moving forward with doing the work. I believe those were the two considerations that county council mentioned. So with that, I'm in support of making a motion to approve Lake Vista Estates time extension for 2 years.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second, so we'll make a roll call.
I have a first from Commissioner Powers and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess at this point in time, we did have a person that wanted to make a comment that's not on the agenda today. Is that
No.
person still in
We
line?
got that. They commented on the last one.
Okay,
We're
Chair,
good.
and if we could, that last item would have appeal rights.
okay, good, thank you. Okay, so I guess we're way past our time here, so it's time for us to take a look at the DeFay variance. And for this one, we have,
Chair, before we move to the DeFay variance, would you be amenable to discussing the opportunity for the people who comment on that project to appeal it, that they can
yeah,
appeal it
I'm
within 10
having
days?
trouble hearing you.
Sure. For that last item, there are appeal rights to it. So if you could, I believe there is 10 days for those parties to appeal it, and they would be available to do that subject to a certain fee.
That language is on the last page, Richard. Look at the last page.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about the appeal rights. So anybody that commented has the opportunity to appeal to the Board of Supervisors in 10 days. And the cost of that is $688. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see, now we can move on to the DeFay variance. And let me see, this is going to be, let me see, I'm looking here to see who's going to make the discussion. But whoever it is, it's your turn now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Kara Conklin with the Planning Services Division. And let me just pull up my presentation here. Let me know when you guys can see it. And can you see the full screen?
Nothing yet.
Anything now?
Yes, there it is.
Okay, and that's the full screen that you see?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just gonna move that one over here real quick. All right, good morning. The item that I have before you today is a third-party appeal of the DeVay variance. Oh, wait a second here. All right. And the purpose of today's hearing is for the Planning Commission to consider an appeal of the zoning administrator's approval of the variance to allow for the construction of a 1,777 square foot two-story residential addition to a single-story residence. It is proposed to be located 28 feet 8 inches from the northwest side property line, where a minimum of 30 feet is normally required, and 25 feet 6 inches from the northeast front property line, where a minimum of 50 feet from the edge of easement is normally required. All right. So the project site is located at 3404 Rattlesnake Road in Newcastle. The parcel is 1.8 acres in size, and the parcel is developed with a single family residence. It has a small garden and small orchard. And then just south of that, it slopes steeply downhill. That is where the leach field and septic repair area is located. Parcels to the east and the south are developed, and the adjacent parcel to the northwest is undeveloped. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get, there we go. All right, the parcel is zoned residential agriculture, combining a minimum building site of 4.6 acres. Now, the DeFay parcel is legal non-conforming, and what that means is that this parcel was legally created in 1980 at 1.8 acres in size, and it currently does not meet the zoning requirement of a 4.6 acre minimum site. Surrounding parcels within the area are all at least 4.6 acres in size and meet those minimum parcel size requirements. So the proposed addition is at the northwest portion of the site. That's where the single family residence is located, and it's also the narrowest point of the property. The applicants looked at putting an addition on the rear portion of their residence, highlighted here in yellow. But it's steeply sloped back there, and it would require them to do some soil stabilization, extensive grading, and also put in a retaining wall. They also looked at putting the addition above their garage, and that is located in the green area on the south side of the residence. However, that would have required them to remove the solar panels off of their roof. They would have lost attic and garage space, as well as it would have required them to do extensive electrical rerouting within the home. And then the south part of the property, on the south side of the residence, that's where their orchard and garden are located, as well as where it starts to steeply slope downhill, and then the septic repair and leach field are just south of that area. So the required setbacks for this property are to the front is 50 feet from the edge of easement, and for the side and rear of the properties, it's a minimum of 30 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance to build 25 feet and about 6 inches from the edge of the easement on the front, because there is the green line there shows a public utility easement line that runs across their property. The road, Rattlesnake Road, sharply bends into the front of their property, and that's why the easement is so close to their home. On the side property line, the northwest side property line, the applicants are requesting to build 28 feet 8 inches from that side property line. So they're really asking for about a foot, a little less than a foot and a half into encroaching into that setback. So on October 20th, 2022, the variance request was presented to the zoning administrator. And after hearing staff's presentation, listening to the applicant's reasoning for the request, and considering the public testimony, the zoning administrator took action to approve the variance per the findings listed in the zoning ordinance section 17.60.100 D1. And those findings include that there were special circumstances applicable to the property, such as the size, shape, topography, or location. That the variance does not constitute a grant of special privileges inconsistent with other properties in the area. It does not authorize a use that is not otherwise allowed within the zoning district. The variance does not adversely affect public health or safety and is not detrimental to the public welfare. The variance is consistent with the Placer County General Plan and Horseshoe Bar Penryn Community Plan. And the variance is the minimum departure from the requirements set forth within the zoning ordinance. So on October 27th, the Planning Services Division received a letter of appeal that was filed by the adjacent property owner to the northwest, Mr. Tyler Field. The appeal contends the following points. That the addition would create a loss of privacy, that it has the potential for impeding views of Folsom Lake, that the addition would substantially reduce the value of Mr. Field's property, and that it also sets a precedent for special treatment. Oops. And staff's response to the first point, the loss of privacy. The applicant is requesting the variance to the northwest side setback for 28 feet 8 inches where 30 feet is normally required. This is less than 1.5 feet and is considered the minimum departure from the requirement. The height of the proposed 2-story addition is proposed to be 22 feet, where a maximum of 36 feet is normally allowed. So the appellant does not currently live on the adjoining property. They do not have any building permits or plans that are submitted to the county for a single family residence on his property. Therefore, there is no loss of privacy to be had. Staff's response to the second point in regards to potential impeding views of Folsom Lake. That is a hypothetical situation since there is no residence on the field parcel for a view to be obstructed. The height of the second story, as previously mentioned, is 22 feet and is below the maximum height allowed, which shows that the applicant has taken into consideration their neighbors, the rural character of the neighborhood and their surroundings. And the setback reduction is minor and wouldn't block any views or private views which are not protected. Staff's response to the third point, that it would substantially reduce the value of Mr. Field's property. So Mr. Field is concerned that the residential addition would decrease the value of his property. Again, that is hypothetical. Although characteristics of a neighborhood might have an effect on property values, characteristics such as buildability, access, water and sewer, vegetation, and topography of the site generally have more of an effect on a property's value. The addition to the DeFay residence would increase their square footage by adding bedrooms and office space without taking away any storage or garage space, therefore increasing their property value, and potentially would in turn increase the values of other neighboring comparable properties. And then staff's response to the fourth point of setting a precedent for special treatment. So Mr. Field is concerned that the approval of this addition sets a precedent for special treatment that wouldn't be given to other properties in the area. However, because this parcel is a legal non-conforming lot, it is smaller in size than the other parcels in the area. Likely those other larger parcels may not need a variance to build an addition to their property because their properties are so much bigger. Now, due to the size and shape and topography, as well as the layout of the DeFay property, and because it is legal non-conforming, the variance was actually, the findings were met that it does not deprive this property owner of the privileges, that are enjoyed by other properties within the vicinity. So it is allowing the DeFay property to have the same privileges, a single family residence with adequate living space for their family that is enjoyed by other properties within the area. And so staff's recommendation for you today is to find that the project is categorically exempt from environmental review in accordance with section 15303 and 15305 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and section 18.36050 and 18.36.070 of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance, new construction or conversion of small structures, and minor alterations in land use limitations. The second recommendation is that your commission deny the appeal filed by Mr. Tyler Field. And the third recommendation is to affirm and uphold the zoning administrator's decision to approve the DeFay variance supported by the findings stated in the staff report. I am available should you have any questions for me. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, do you have any questions? Not seeing any. Is the appellant online?
Yes.
So, Mr. Field, you can
Hello.
speak right now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, I just had a few points I wanted to make. So I just wanted to start by thanking the DeFays for offering to plant some cover plants at the boundary to increase the privacy. That was something that they had mentioned in an email correspondence I received from Ms. Conklin. And so I wanted to say thank you. That's a very nice gesture. However, I don't believe that including some plants at the boundary will offer the kind of privacy that other property owners in this area are accustomed to. The reason I oppose this addition is because I feel that it is unnecessarily close to the property line and eliminates any possibility of privacy at our nearby property. By the nature of the addition being less than 30 feet away from the property and having this additional second story with many windows facing our property, these plants, I think, would unfortunately do very little to improve the privacy. I wanted to also say that Ms. DeFay is correct that we do, and Ms. Conklin are both correct that we do not have a house on this property yet. However, I do not believe that it is appropriate to dismiss our desire to maintain privacy at this corner of our property simply because we have not built a house there yet. Especially since I think it's important to explain that this area right next to this proposed addition is the only buildable location on the lot where we plan to build our home. There's steep slope gradients and a year-round creek that makes this area next to the proposed DeFay addition the only viable building location for our home. Also, Ms. DeFay mentioned that her property would possibly increase the value of our nearby property as it would increase the value of her property as a local price comparison. And I would personally disagree with this assessment, as this addition creates a living environment that runs contradictory to normal countryside living conditions. Many people choose to move to the countryside to escape the crowded nature of city or suburban life. And having this addition so near to our property renders the experience at this property more similar to a suburban environment than true rural living. and in my belief defeats the purpose that others seek in countryside living, including my wife and myself. Furthermore, Ms. DeFay pointed out that we have not provided any evidence that this addition would lower our property value. But I would just like to ask everyone a simple question to state my point on this issue. How would you feel having a neighbor be able to watch everything that you do? From my perspective, this obviously lowers the property value. If there is any evidence needed to support our view that this addition decreases our property value, please, we're open, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to provide it. Also, Ms. DeFay mentioned that our property layout would likely cause us to violate the 30-foot setback limit in the future when we build our home. And this is purely speculation and is not relevant for this case. Furthermore, there is more than enough space for us to build our home while not violating the 30-foot setback limit. And we have no plans of applying for a variance when we begin construction. And even if we were to build our home less than 30 feet away, which we do not plan to do, and apply for a variance similar to this one, this does not mean that it permits them to do so as well. Two wrongs don't make a right. Finally, I'd just like to finish by saying that I can sympathize with the situation the DeFays are in. However, the proposal to build this on the north end of their property does not seem like the best solution for both of us. I would appreciate it if the DeFay family would consider adding this addition on the opposite southeast side of their home, not on top of their garage, but directly south. That way we can both maintain appropriate privacy. I understand that the DeFays have stated that they have exhausted all other possible addition options. However, in my opinion, the south side of their property is flat and buildable. This steep slope gradient is not an accurate characterization in my view. If you look at the land directly south to their garage area, it's very flat and buildable from what I can see. And I would say that I'm very familiar with this property because at one time I was the owner of this property. I would also like to mention that this is a large house and was fully remodeled around 2009 with an open floor plan and already has 3 bedrooms. Despite this, I'm not entirely opposed to their desire to expand their home. I just hope that they will consider placing this large 2-story addition on the opposite side of their house so that we can both maintain our privacy needs and retain our property values. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll open up the public comment period. And whoever wants to comment will have 3 minutes.
Hi,
With the
Catherine.
applicant?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Kara.
I was just going to suggest if the commission would like to hear from the applicant, the DeFays.
Yes, we have Catherine and Isaac online.
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, they're welcome to comment right now.
Thank you. Mostly, I just want to point out that the 30-foot setback is, we only encroach on it for about 4 feet. So that 1.8 inches or 1.8 feet only extends for a small amount of space. So it actually is only about 8 square feet total, both first and second floor, that encroaches in on that 30-foot setback. I'm a construction cost estimator. I work in construction, and we did look at all of those options. Even putting it onto the other side of the garage was something we looked at. It doesn't slope right away, but it does slope close enough that we would have to do some grading in order to give. You do have to, on every side of your house, you can't just grade away from it right away. So we would have to push more soils out in order to give that buffer. So there's that. And then also on that side of the garage, if we placed it there, we have the solar panels on that side, and in order to tie in the roofing, we would have to remove those solar panels. We also would have to still reroute all of our electrical, because that is also where our box is, and all of the all of the cabling that comes in there would have to be rerouted. It is expensive. I understand that there are obviously always ways that you can build anywhere on your site. But like Tyler would need to do on his own site, he would want to be in the most economical place, which I believe he provided a circle of where he would have to, the only area where he would be allowed to build, which based on my own measurements, it's not just the 30-foot setback, he would have to apply for a variance for the 50-foot setback from the utility easement, just as we have. So I just ask that the commissioners be mindful of what we are asking for is essentially when he does choose to build, what he will also have to apply for. And we're not trying to infringe on, his privacy. It's hard to figure out privacy though, if there is no existing house there. I don't think that we actually would cause any problems with privacy. We can very easily plant trees and screening that goes up to that 22-foot height that our house goes to. And we did take into consideration, all of those matters in planning our house, because we don't want this 36-foot high addition popping up out of nowhere. So we actually, I originally had it designed to be an attic build for the bedrooms. These are bedrooms for our kids. They currently share a bedroom. We didn't want, they planned for it to be an attic addition, but my children are going to be tall. So we realized we needed to do a little bit more than just an attic bedroom situation as they would hit their heads. So we modified it to the 22-foot height, which is well under that 36-foot height. So we did take those sorts of things into consideration. We should be allowed to have windows on that side of our house. I don't see why that is an issue. Just as he would be allowed to have windows facing our house. So I don't think that that's a problem there. And we can put in that screening. I have no problem doing that. I don't know, Isaac, my husband, do you have any other?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of other additional comments, but placing an addition on the far side of the garage would not allow travel to that addition very easily. Foundation would need to be redone for the garage too, I believe, so.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
No.
Okay, well, with that, we'll close off the public comment. Mr. Field, do you have any further things you want to say in regards to what Catherine and Isaac DeFay had to say?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of drive home the point that like Catherine DeFay said, like directly south to their garage, it doesn't slope. And I don't understand why that cannot be considered as it seems suspect to me that I really think the addition would be a great place to put right there. And it's from my experience on that property, growing up in this area, it's a very flat spot. So I'm confused and I don't really understand why it must be on the north side and be so close. That's my main issue with the addition. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. I guess, I don't know if I officially close public comment, but I will do that now. And bring it back to commission, if you have any discussion points.
Chair, I know we did have the applicant speak as well. Did we open this to public comment? If not, I just suggest that we at least check to see if any other members of the public would like to comment on this before we close public comment.
Yeah, so you want me to open up the public comment again?
If we could just check to see if there is any members of the public that would like to provide comment that haven't had the opportunity to do so.
Okay, well, do we have any member of the public that we missed?
Catherine DeFay has raised her hand again, but she was the original applicant and she's already spoken. Do you want me to
What's
allow?
that?
Catherine DeFay would like to speak again. She's already spoken.
Okay, well, Catherine,
Do you want me to
we'll
allow
give you
her?
the opportunity to speak again.
Yes, sorry, I just need to comment back that side of our garage, again, it doesn't slope down directly right after our garage. I'm gonna just reiterate this, but in order to create the buffer, you have to have it like about 5 feet set back from wherever the addition is in order to be able to walk around. You can't have it just start grading off right after. I work in construction and I see this all the time. All of our general contractors, my dad's a general contractor, there are rules about those sorts of things. And it does actually drastically, once we get to the electrical, actually our electricity comes in right there. So our pole would have to be moved, etc. So right at the pole, it does have a drop off of about 3 feet within, it's a 1-to-1 grade. So it does drop off. We would have to do some extensive grading there. And actually, I believe it was kind of built up. So whatever is under there, and in putting in our garden, we found shingles and rocks and all sorts of stuff in there. I don't even know what they built that up out of. So there's going to be some extensive work needing to be done. We tested the soils on the other side to see what we're dealing with there. And it is the flattest part of our property. That's where we're putting it because, and the flow is also the most appropriate. We are not actually adding bedrooms. The way it's going to work is to kind of modify the existing rooms so that we can give the kids their own bedrooms. Currently, we do have 3 bedrooms. One of the bedrooms is very small, and it also has a large door leading out to our back porch, which concerns me. We have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. So there are varying reasons why. So we have our boy and our girl sharing a bedroom currently. And as many might know, our 9-year-old is getting a little tired of having her brother in the same bedroom. So, so there's so many things that have gone into this decision, and we did not take it lightly. And we, and it really only overlaps that 30-foot setback by a minor fraction. I mean, I think it's about 1% of the building that we're proposing goes over. So I just, again, I don't know what else to say. We also, have had this drafted. We've paid for a drafter, we've paid for engineers. And and the general contractor. So we're in this financially already, and making any adjustments at this point and trying to put it onto the other side is just when we already know that it's going to be quite a cost endeavor, and also just ruin the layout of our home. I can't reiterate that we really have looked at these options, and this is what we have to work with. So
Okay, Catherine, is that about it?
yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'll close the public comment again and invite the commission to have a discussion or make a motion or ask questions.
This is Commissioner Dahlgren. Kara, can you go back to the site plan? The bigger version of it where we saw the utility, that one. Thank you. My question is, if we're only talking about encroachment of about 1.5 feet, why is the design on the one side, sorry, on the property side, not the utility easement side, why wasn't the design incorporated so the space was smaller, where it went back 1.5 feet, and then we wouldn't be even having this discussion?
Are you asking me that question?
You
Or is that for the
or
applicant?
phrase, yeah.
I will let the applicant speak to that. I believe, for the needs of their home and what they are trying to do, this is, what they came up with, as far as what they need. But I'll let Catherine speak to that.
Yes, and thank you. Yeah, architecturally speaking, as far as space goes, we do need the stairs to go up to the second floor in order to have the turnaround. This spacing was the best. There is no problem with the setback at the very front. I mean, you see our property line, it really only is at that very, very, so to keep the design consistent from the front to the back, we didn't take it in for that, 2 feet that is the issue. It just, the more you bring it in, the more the stairs are gonna be impacted.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more questions or comments or discussion points from the commission?
My only comment would be that whether Mr. Fields develops his property or turns around and sells it, that anybody could go build a 36-foot tall home. And now you're talking about, if your privacy issues, maybe invading the privacy of your other neighbors. But I would go with the staff's recommendation if we can go there.
Chair, if I could, I'd just like to make one comment. If we are moving towards motions, on the recommendation, that third item, if the commission is inclined to go with staff's recommendation, that third item should be modified to note that it would also be subject to defense indemnification of the county for any issues with the variance, and also an expiration date of January 12th, 2026, unless exercised by issuance of a building permit. So that would be a recommendation to add that to item 3 of the recommendation if the commission is so inclined.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Clayton, what was the expiration date on that, number 3?
It would be 3 years from today's date, so January 12th, 2026, unless exercised by the issuance of a building permit. So if they get a building permit by then it would be exercised. Otherwise, it would expire.
I'm ready to make it a motion if everybody else is ready.
And ready.
Then I find that I can make the recommendation that we find the project categorically exempt from environmental review in accordance with sections 15303 and 15305 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and sections 18.36.050 and 18.36.070 of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance, quotation, new construction or conversion of small structures and minor alterations in land use limitations.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
I have a first from Commissioner DiMattei and a second from Commissioner Dahlgren. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this item is appealable to the Board of Supervisors.
We still have
two
items
more.
2 and 3 that need motions before we conclude it.
What's that?
Chair, items 2 and 3 would still need motions before we conclude the item.
Yeah. Jumping the gun here.
I would also like to recommend that we deny the appeal filed by Tyler Field.
I'll second.
First and a second, roll call.
I have a first from Commissioner DiMattei and a second from Commissioner Dahlgren. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's go on to the third item.
Not yet.
No, you got one more.
Yeah, but I would also like to recommend item number 3, affirm the zoning administration's decision to approve the variance supported by the findings stated in the staff report. And also, Clayton, if you could add those other words, because I couldn't write them all down fast
Sure.
enough.
Yeah. No, I think probably the easiest way is as modified, suggested by council during the meeting.
As modified, suggested by council in the meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
I have a first from Commissioner DiMattei and a second from Commissioner Dahlgren. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now I need to remember that there is an opportunity to appeal these decisions to the Board of Supervisors. And it has to be filed in 10 days. And there's a $688 cost to appeal. So with that, we'll thank the appellant and the applicant and move on to our next item, which is a Hartman subdivision modification of a reasonable accommodation request. And this would be Bennett Smithart. You're on.
All righty. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All righty. So Bennett Smithart with the Planning Services Division. The next item is an appeal of the zoning administrator's denial of a subdivision modification and a reasonable accommodation request. This property is located at 14600 Curry Court in Auburn. It's within the Shadow Rocks Estates community. As you can see on the site plan, the location of the individual parcel within the subdivision. The site is designated rural residential, 2.3 to 4.6 acres minimum in the Auburn-Bowman community plan, and is zoned residential agriculture combining minimum building site of 100,000 square feet, combining aircraft overflight. So this is an aerial of the project site where I have the red circle is the proposed location of the ADU and the requested second driveway that is subject of today's hearing. Here are some photographs of the project site. These photographs are mainly showing the conservation easement and the landscape in the front yard. Another photograph in the original request at hand, the applicant originally requested to modify the recorded no access strip located along the east property line and modify the building envelope to allow for a 1,200 square foot ADU and a 1,400 square foot attached garage to the ADU. So this is the requested location on the photograph over here in the red arrow, requested location for the second driveway to the ADU. So a little background, this is within the Shadow Rock Estates subdivision. So this is Shadow Rock subdivision number 3, and it was a 6-lot subdivision of a 20-acre parcel. And this is lot 2. So I have my mouse here to show it. The lot 2 was recorded with a no access strip on the north and east sides of the parcel. And we have the site plan here. We added a little color to it so you can see what is happening here. It's a 2.8 acre parcel. There's a 2,800 square foot house with a driveway and attached garage. And as you see on the green on the site plan, there's a open space preservation easement that was a part of the original subdivision's approval. You can see the existing house in yellow, then kind of dark orange is proposed ADU with garage and their requested second driveway. And you can see in red this is the no access strip that was recorded on the subdivision map. So this went to the June 16th zoning administrator hearing. The property owner and building contractor spoke in support of the modification request. The applicant stated the ADU is for a family member that has a disability, and the adjacent neighbor has an ADU with a driveway. The zoning administrator took action to continue the public hearing to July 21st in order to hear from the homeowners association. So we did get some information from the homeowners information. They were not in support of the modification, and 2 individuals from the homeowners association came to the hearing and spoke in opposition to the modification. Individuals opposed to the modification expressed concerns about potential impacts to the rural nature of the community and the precedent would be set if approved. The zoning administrator asked clarifying questions and then took action to deny the subdivision modification, subject to the findings and conditions in the staff report. So after that, on July 26th, an appeal of the zoning administrator's decision was filed by property owner Michael Hartman. The appeal has 4 points. The denial violates Assembly Bill 670. Just a quick summary from my understanding, Assembly Bill 670 addresses CC&R's ability or lack of ability to restrict ADUs and JADUs. Second one, the no access strip serves no purpose other than to block a driveway. Third, the plan presents the easiest, most affordable access to the ADU and is least impactful to existing landscape and trees. Number 4, the applicant stated that Public Works found no traffic sightline issues when they talked with them. So going through each of these, first one, the denial violates Assembly Bill 670. So staff's response to that is the recommending of denial for the second driveway doesn't deny that ADU. They could go in today and submit building permits and build the ADU where they're proposing it right now. So we do not restrict ADUs and we encourage the use of ADUs within Placer County. So state law prohibits the county from restricting ADUs. So ADUs can be built on this site. So what most of the concern was from the appellant was the second driveway and lack of that. Second, the no access strip serves no purpose other than to block a driveway. The Engineering and Surveying Division supports Planning Commission's April 1993. That was when this subdivision was approved. They approved the subdivision with singular driveways back in 93. And within the subdivision. In addition, ESD is in support of the county and HOA's policy of only allowing one encroachment per parcel. So we add this slide in a few additional where you would apply no access strips. So in a corner lot where access is restricted to one frontage, just a few of these. So where a parcel abuts a state highway or local collector or arterial street, or if alternative access is available for aesthetic purposes, such as not allowing a loop driveway or multiple driveways, where driveway locations are predetermined by the subdivider, where a traffic study would be compromised by uncontrolled access, or where access would be problematic due to site constraints such as habitat adjacent to the roadway topography, physical barriers such as rock outcroppings, or site distance issues such as road alignments and surrounding vegetations. Say, going to the third one, the appellant states the plan presents the easiest, most affordable access to the ADU is the least impactful to existing landscape and trees. The cost, staff's response, the cost of developing a second driveway is not considered in the subdivision modification request. There's a lot of trees on the parcel and there's a lot of topography as well. And the construction of a new driveway as proposed may have a greater impact on the site topography and trees than a driveway extension from the existing driveway to the ADU with the attached garage. Next, the appellant states Public Works found no traffic sightline issues when they initially talked with them. During the review of the subdivision modification, county staff reviewed the proposed encroachment, determined it does not meet current encroachment or line of sight standards due to the curve of Curry Court and the vegetation along the road, creating site distance issues. So this went to the appeal was the November 10th Planning Commission hearing. Prior to the hearing, the property owner requested a continuance in order to file a reasonable accommodation request. Your commission voted to continue the item to the January 12th, 2023 hearing, which is today. So we did receive the reasonable accommodation request from the property owner on November 10th, 2020. The property owner is requesting a reasonable accommodation to remove the no access strip on the subdivision map and to build a second driveway to the proposed ADU instead of the driveway extension that is allowed without the subdivision modification. So the applicant and property owner submitted an application for the reasonable accommodation, in which included some justification of their request. So the Hartmans seek an accommodation in the driveway policy to remove the no access restriction to allow for their disabled family member to drive up to the ADU utilizing a second driveway at this location that we have on this photograph here. So staff's run is the second driveway is not necessary for an individual with a physical disability to access to the ADU, as they can drive up to the property and park next to the ADU's front door or in the garage via a driveway. So however you get to the site, you can still get to the front door or to the garage or anything where it's flat and they can walk directly in. So the staff believes the second driveway is not necessary, essential to use the ADU. Second, the applicant provided some additional justification. The application states a disabled family member has a condition that inhibits and restricts his ability to walk and needs to be able to drive up in the ADU in order to use and enjoy the ADU to the same extent as a non-disabled person. Building a driveway extension on the existing driveway is not feasible and would not be appropriate on those statutes, since it would add substantial cost to access the ADU. So staff response: in order to make findings under the reasonable accommodation ordinance, the requested reasonable accommodation cannot impose an undue financial or administrative burden on the county. The property owner's additional construction costs of the driveway would not be a burden on the county. Additionally, recently the applicant submitted prior to the hearing a preliminary construction estimate from Remington Construction and Engineering. on January 10th. The proposal indicates the driveway extension would be approximately $50,000 more expensive than the proposed second driveway. The estimate indicates the driveway extension is possible to construct, and the second driveway is neither necessary or essential for a family member to access the ADU. So staff offers no comment for the medical hardship stated in the request with the application. They did provide a letter from a doctor, and that remains confidential. So we have no comment on that. Staff does support the construction of an ADU and the modification of the building envelope, so they could build the ADU where they proposed it and come in today for a building permit. However, staff believes that access to the proposed ADU is possible off the existing driveway, and a driveway extension would potentially cause less disturbance on site. Furthermore, the applicant has not shown the proposed ADU can only be accessed via a new driveway. The engineer's construction estimate shows the driveway is possible to construct. Next is CEQA. Since staff is recommending denial, we would use the Section 15270 of the California Environmental Quality Act and 183610G of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance. Projects are which disapproved. So therefore, staff brings forward the planning or the zoning administrator's recommendation to deny the appeal, and staff recommends denial of the reasonable accommodation filed by Mr. Hartman. And I'm available for any questions.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The HOAs, I believe I heard you say this, and I just want to hear it again. The HOA states that there's one encroachment per parcel to get onto the parcel, correct? The HOA?
That is correct. Yes, it's they recorded one. I can probably scroll right quick back to the. So the gray right here is recorded on the subdivision map. That's where they're allowed to put a driveway. So the specific driveway was recorded on the subdivision map to limit impacts to the open space area.
So I understand HOAs pretty well, and they're put in place from the very beginning in order to keep a certain style or, limit RVs parking on the sides of the roads and things like that. And if you want to change what the HOAs say, you need to go to your HOA and have them agree to it. Isn't that normally the process?
Yes, I mean, there's, I guess, two levels of restrictions. So we have our county zoning ordinance and requirements, and also privately what the HOA has between the HOA and its individual property owners. The county is not a part of those. So yes, they would have to go for this particular situation. They would need approval from the HOA and the county.
And the HOA has denied it, correct?
That is correct. We've received correspondence from the HOA that indicated they do not support this modification request and deny it.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. This is Commissioner Dahlgren.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment that the assessment from the engineer that Mr. Hartman hired and paid for himself isn't what I would consider true facts for the cost, because costs can be subjective. And since it was paid for by Mr. Hartman, the engineering that says it's $50,000 more could or could not be accurate. That's all. That's the only point I have.
I have a question too, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clayton, interested in your statement on this too. I know you've reviewed the document, but when you look at Assembly Bill 670, are you in agreement that the denial does not violate that?
Yes, so AB 670 has to deal with HOAs. and it doesn't talk about county requirements for this. And I think it's an important distinction to note. This requirement for a singular access is on the map, and the applicant is seeking a modification to the map. So while the HOA may have a position on it that's similar to what's listed on the map, the issue before the county is whether or not the condition should be removed off the map. The HOA in some sense operates in a separate realm in terms of determining what is proper for that housing division. But the question before your commission is simply, should we modify this map to allow a second access?
Because we're not denying the development of an ADU, nor is the homeowners association. Everybody says, sure, go ahead and build your ADU.
Yeah.
Right. The requirements for a reasonable accommodation are listed in the staff report. They're also in our county code. They basically require a finding that the access is necessary to allow the ADU to be built. Staff's position is that the ADU is built. Their concern is not with the ADU, but with the possibility that it could be accessed from the main driveway or from a separate access.
That was my understanding. Thank you for clarifying. I'll save my other comments till after public comment.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, with that, then our appellant and applicant hopefully is on the line. If you'd like to speak at this time.
Hello, this is Michael Hartman. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I believe our representative, Michael Thomas, should also be there. And I'd like to give him the first opportunity to address the issues that the commission has raised.
That would be fine.
Yeah, this is Michael Thomas. I'm the legal counsel for the Hartmans, and I understand the staff response. Although I disagree with it, the issue here is that the cost of extending the existing driveway is prohibitively expensive, so that it is basically a barrier by requiring that the existing driveway be extended, that is imposing a barrier on the construction of the ADU and getting disabled access to the ADU. $50,000 again is prohibitively expensive, and this is a standard estimate. If the county, the commissioners would like additional estimates, I'm sure those can be provided. But the fact is, today we know that the county requirement that we use the existing driveway is prohibitively expensive and is a barrier to the construction of the ADU. And it's a prohibited barrier under Government Code Section 65852.150, as well as sections, subdivisions, subparagraphs, Government Code Section 65852.2, subparagraph E2. And, the fact is that Mr. Hartman is disabled and needs direct access to his ADU with his vehicle. The requirement that the access be only through the current driveway is prohibitive to Mr. Hartman. Another point is that, and I'll let the Hartmans address this, there are at least 4 other cases in this subdivision where secondary driveways were allowed to go across the no access restriction. And so I don't see why other folks in the subdivision get to have 2 driveways, but a disabled member of the community does not get to have a second driveway. And with that, Mike, I'll let you take over.
Sure. And commissioners, I'd like to thank you for your time before I kind of get started here. So let me just kind of talk first of all to the cost estimate provided by our contractor, Pat Remington. He's been in Auburn building for 30 plus years. He's well known in the community. He's done the 2 other ADUs that currently exist within Shadow Rock Estates. So he knows the topography of the land. He knows what he's going to probably encounter. At one point, the HOA requested a better or more thorough, comprehensive estimate for the driveway costs. He then submitted his estimate after coming out and actually measuring, determining what retaining walls would need to be built and stuff like that. That estimate should be in your hands as it was submitted by me a few days ago. That's actually $95,000 for the driveway extension as opposed to $23,000 for access from the top of the court. So the estimate did go up, and it was because they requested more additional detailed information about retaining walls, length of retaining walls, and stuff like that. So it's more than a $50,000 variance. It's significant for an ADU. The comments about having access via the one existing driveway on the property, that doesn't really work. I mean, you're essentially barring him access to the ADU if he doesn't have a driveway to his actual house. So, I mean, I think the second driveway we proposed, the one that goes in from the top of the court, is direct access. We're going to have to remove some trees and do some grading to build the ADU to begin with. So that's all figured in. This is the most least impactful access to the lot. In addition to that, all of this development that we're talking about here for the ADU and the driveway is essentially blocked from view by everybody except one neighbor at the very top of the court, because the open space preservation easement that you can see on Mr. Smithhart's map is forested or treed, I guess is the way to say it. So my neighbor, even directly across the street from me, he'll never see this ADU or the driveway. The one home at the top of the street, I've got letters from all my neighbors that support our project and do not oppose the driveway, and including the neighbor that would be the one driving by it a couple times a day. And then just to clarify, the 4 other double driveways, and that's just the minimum that I know of. There may be more than 4, but some of them may be on private lanes, which I did not access within our development. But the 4 that I did see, I don't know if there's no access strips or not along their property. All I know is that there are 4 other homes at the minimum that have double driveways going into their property. And for the HOA to represent that our driveway would forever change the nature and rural feel of Shadow Rock Estates just doesn't ring true to me, because I don't think the nature of our development has been changed by the 4 other double driveways for the 20 plus years they've probably been in existence, one of which is owned by one of the board members of the HOA. So we're not asking for something special. We're asking for an accommodation to do a direct access driveway to the ADU. It's the cheapest way to get access to this ADU for my brother. It's also the least impactful to the property. And then I would like to talk for a minute about the Department of Public Works. So I'm kind of confused, because at my first hearing on this matter in front of Mr. George Rosasco, Mr. Rosasco asked the planning representative, and I'm not sure if that was Mr. Smithhart at the time, but there was a planning representative there and a engineering representative, I think it was, that was there. And he asked them, quote unquote, aside from the no access strip, if Mr. Hartman were to put a driveway there, does the Department of Public Works have any issues with that? And is there any sightline issues or traffic issues? And they said, no, the Department of Public Works has been out there. Aside from the no access strip, they find no issues whatsoever regarding that driveway location. And then after the fact, now we're being told that there's sightline issues, there's vegetation issues, that it's on a corner. None of those are accurate in my estimation. And we have enough room. I mean, even in looking at the current exhibit that's up on my screen showing the open space and the 2 houses, there's enough room on that strip. We can locate that driveway to the, further, I guess it would be further north or further south if anybody's concerned about that location, but it's in a straight section of the street. And there's one home at the top of the court. That's it. There's no other houses up there. So to say that there'd be a traffic issue or a sightline issue, again, I just don't see the validity in those comments. let me see here. Oh, and then there was some comments about this kind of being an HOA issue. And I think the problem we're having here right now is that the HOA is refusing to talk to us about this driveway because they're telling us it's the county that has denied our driveway. And the county is now, it seems, saying, well, you need to go to the HOA because it's really an HOA issue. So it's kind of like nobody wants to address the issue and they're pointing at each other saying it's not our problem. I actually think, not that it carries any weight, but the county really is the one that has to make the first move here. And I believe the county in their first hearing on this matter with Mr. Rosasco, he at that point was in favor of granting our subdivision modification request and said it made sense and he understood it. Then, and he asked about our HOA, and I said, I know the HOA will oppose it because they do not want two driveways. And he said, well, I still want to hear from them. So we continued it for 1 month. The two HOA board members, one appeared in person, one appeared via Zoom. They, of course, opposed the driveway that we want and talked about the, absolute change of Shadow Rock Estates. It's going to change the entire nature of the subdivision. I think that, and by the way, our HOA voted to intentionally not be a part of the county's sign-off process when it comes to these types of projects. So they're not on the approved sign-off list for these projects. So though I think that they can probably have a voice, I don't know that it's fair that they represent the entire HOA when they express their opinions. Because I know of at least 8 other residents that have no problem with our property and our request. Give me 1 second here just to make sure I'm. The only other thing I would comment, though I know it's probably not relevant, is that the doctor's letter that Mr. Smithhart referred to is actually from my brother's orthopedic surgeon who's done 2 of his last surgeries. So it's not just a doctor that is, opining about my brother's condition. It's his actual orthopedic surgeon that's done his last 2 surgeries, the last of which requiring an 8-day hospital stay. And that's all I'm going to say about his disability. I think that's it. I think I've addressed the issues that I wanted to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, if there's no follow-up questions by the commissioners, I'll open up the public comment.
Okay, we have one. Hi, Ms. Starbuck. If you could unmute, state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment.
Thank you. This is Deborah Starbuck. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak. I am currently the High Shadow Rock Estates Homeowners Association president, and I did speak at the
I'm sorry, Ms. Starbuck, I can't hear her.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can't. Yeah, yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am the HOA president at the current time, and I'm very familiar with this property and the no access strips throughout the subdivision. There's a couple of issues I'd like to point out that aren't quite accurate that were presented by Mr. Hartman. First of all, the driveways that he's referring to in a neighboring section within Shadow Rock are actually they were a separate unit within Shadow Rock. That was Unit 4, which encompassed part of Shadow Rock Drive and Arrow Court. They actually had their own subdivision map. They had their own homeowners association, which is still acting. And their subdivision map was approved with circular driveways for up to 4 properties. So they have not violated nor asked for any variances for no access strip to those properties because they got them approved when the subdivision was built out. We did inform Mr. Hartman of that previously, and we've been working with Mr. Hartman since November of 2021 when he indicated that he had a desire to build an ADU, which we are in full support of. However, we did notify him at that time, well before any of his design took place, that he would have to access the ADU via the existing driveway, and that he would be limited to a 2-car garage due to the fact that it's an accessory dwelling. And we proceeded to put together guidelines for the entire subdivision for future ADU proposals. And that was voted on by the entire association, and we had no comments. So last summer we approved it, and it requires no more than a 1 or 2-car garage for any accessory dwelling unit. If that is what is approved and a permit is issued for, the width of the driveway would be, or driveway pad would be significantly narrower, and the extension required from the existing driveway would be shorter. In fact, if the house were flipped, if he's worried about costs, the driveway would be even closer to the existing driveway. The proposed driveway variance through the no access strip was also denied because the property that has an ADU directly north of Mr. Hartman's property also built an ADU, and they requested a variance and no strip access onto Brookdale Drive. That was denied by the county and the HOA, and he actually has to access his ADU via his primary property's driveway. We want that to remain consistent and not set a precedent for any other homeowner.
Ms. Starbuck, your time is up. Could you close your comment, please?
Yes, I would also like to just state that we appreciate staff's commitment to keeping the precedents for single access driveways, and also check into fire flow requirements when you're approving additional accessory buildings in the subdivision, because PCWA has notified us just recently that this Unit 3 where this ADU is to be built does not currently meet the county's subdivision map requirements for minimum fire flow requirements. We have provided that information to staff, and we hope they'll research that further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have anybody else?
No.
Okay, Mr. Hartman, if you would like to respond, you're welcome to do that now, but try to keep it fairly brief.
Mr. Hartman, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize for that. So yes, thank you for the opportunity to sort of respond. First of all, the first thing that Ms. Starbuck said, talking about the other 4 driveways within the subdivision, to me, that's a distinction without a difference. There are 4 other homes within Shadow Rocks with double driveways, and that hasn't changed the nature of this development as far as I can tell. None of my neighbors were aware that, by the way, there are multiple different divisions within Shadow Rock Estates. There's only 77 homes here. We all believe it's just Shadow Rock Estates. So I think that she's trying to draw a distinction without a difference, in my opinion. The second thing, and nobody sort of mentioned this, but our first plan submitted to the county back in March was with the spur driveway. I met with Erica and Tiana at the front counter for an informal plan check with my architect and my contractor. They looked at the plans, took them back to at least they told me they took them back to Michelle Lewis. And 45 minutes later, they came out and said, we won't approve your spur driveway. Here's where we want you to put the driveway. And they're the ones that told us to put it at the top of the court and to complete a subdivision modification request, which we did. It's really upsetting to me that we've gone down this path for 10 months and everybody's trying to say we don't know anything about this. We originally tried to do a spur driveway and were denied that. And so we were told the only place we would put a driveway that the county would approve was where we have now submitted our application with you guys. Finally, to talk about Ms. Starbuck's idea of flipping our whole plan, that's just not feasible. It would not be aesthetically viable. It just doesn't work. And her comment about the free or fire flow requirement, we're at the bottom of Shadow Rock Estates. We don't have a water pressure problem here, but I do understand up at the top of Shadow Rock where she lives and some other people, they do have a pressure problem. I don't know anything about that other than it's been represented to be multiple times by the HOA board. I've been 100% open with the HOA board since day one with my plans and intentions. And all we're asking is to be able to build my brother's ADU with the most reasonable access financially, and as well as the shortest access, which is from the top of the court, without having to go across our entire property to get a driveway up there, requiring over 300 feet of retaining walls, as noted by Mr. Remington. And with that, I would submit.
Okay, thank you. Let me see, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commissioners.
Chair, before we start deliberation, I'd like to make a comment if that's possible.
Oh, is there somebody with a hand? Oh, okay.
No, I'd like to make a comment on this if possible. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, you have to speak a little closer to your
Okay.
microphone.
I just would like to note one thing, and that is there were some comments made by the applicant about unreasonable burden and the cost being a barrier. The legal standard is that's set forth in the county code, and that's whether the accommodation is necessary. The sections that were cited by the applicant have to do with conditions placed on an accessory dwelling unit ordinance, and that's not at issue here. At issue here is a map that's in place that has a condition on it and whether that condition should be modified. The reasonable accommodation requirements are the ones set forth in the staff report and in the county code that have a necessary requirement. It may be that your commission determines that the cost makes it necessary, but that's certainly within the purview of your commission is to make that determination.
Okay, thank you. Okay, commissioners, you're on. Seem to have a lot of silence.
I certainly understand, Mr. Hartman, I understand, the cost saving requests and thoughts, but to me, this is a safety issue that's been iterated. I know there's a medical condition. I think you can still access the property with the current driveway. We've heard from HOA. The public is, we listen to many bodies, and those are really important to us. When we make a determination, it seems as though it's not necessary to have a second driveway, and it's a safety issue for drivers. And so I can't see approving a second driveway here in good conscience.
This is Commissioner Dahlgren. I agree completely. The 4 other driveways don't impede that no access strip. That's the issue, is the no access strip. And I agree, you want to build an ADU, great, go ahead. There are ways to do it that you can connect to the single driveway. I believe that it is feasible. It could be done cost effectively if that was the will of the applicant.
I have a question for the applicant. Is it possible to put the ADU closer to the existing driveway? It seems on the map, I'm not sure which page it is, the plan map.
Yes, thank you. No, because of the topography of the lot, we can't get any closer to the existing driveway. So we're stuck with doing if we do the spur driveway, which was denied by the county because of the preservation space. So I don't even know how we overcome that hurdle to provide access to the ADU without a spur driveway at the minimum, which was already denied. So our only access is what the county told us to do from the top of the court, where there's one home and that's it. So I don't know about traffic issues or safety issues. I don't see that as being a real issue, to be honest. And the cost effective part, I mean, the cost is the cost. We're not making up numbers here. I mean, this is the estimate to do this, to provide access to the ADU. So there's a driveway that goes directly to the ADU.
Can the ADU be put on the west side of the property?
No, unfortunately, that side of our property is too small, and that's also an existing septic tank or septic field for our existing home. And that lot there is too small, and it's surrounded by the preservation space runs right through there. So the location we selected is the only undeveloped area of our lot, and it's literally the perfect spot for this ADU.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Bennett, I have a question. Mr. Hartman said that he was told by engineering that this should be the proposed driveway. Is it possible to maybe contact engineering, if it's Michelle or whoever, to clarify that for us?
I believe my colleagues from engineering are on here. I wasn't in that conversation, so I don't know any details, but if Eric or
I don't understand why that's the only driveway design that's possible. That's my question.
Thank you,
why is that the
Commissioners.
only driveway design possible and connecting it, instead of connecting it to the original driveway? I mean, I'm looking at it, there's a million different ways to design driveways.
I can speak to that a little bit. This is Eric with Engineering and Surveying. So our stance from the beginning has basically, we said if you wanted to do a second driveway, you have to get approval for the no access strip to be removed. So we have been suggesting that you tie into the existing driveway. Now, we have said that you can't have the existing driveway going through the open access area or the open space area. So you'd have to tie in outside of that. And the previous argument was that the applicant would be losing his front yard area. But in our calculations, you still have a 50-foot difference in between a driveway. If you tied off of it and stayed out of the open space, you could do that successfully and still have plenty of front yard area, and it would be okay to go that way.
Now I understand the issue. Now I get it. It's the front yard. It's the front yard. Okay, now I get it. Thank you.
And I also confirmed with Michelle, and she brought it up at ZA, that she stands by that same statement, that we never told them to redesign it to tie into a no access strip. We wouldn't approve that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for that clarification. I appreciate it. That's all the questions I have, Chair. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have a question? Let me see. I see there's a couple of participants that raised their hands, but we've closed the public hearing.
Bennett, can you please put the recommendation up?
So commissioners,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion if you're open to that, Chair.
yeah, go ahead.
Or I'd like to make a motion that we find the project is statutorily exempt from environmental review pursuant to provisions of sections 15270 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and sections 18.36.010G of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance, projects which are disapproved.
Second.
Okay. Have a first and a second?
I have a first from Commissioner Herzog and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to further move that we deny the appeal and reasonable accommodation filed by Mr. Hartman.
Second.
Commissioner Herzog, before we go to votes on this, I believe staff would suggest that this request also be accompanied by the statement supported by the findings contained in the staff report, much like the third item.
supported by the findings in the staff report. Do you still second, Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
I have a first from Commissioner Herzog and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to further move that we affirm the zoning administrator's decision to deny the subdivision modification supported by the findings stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
I have a first from Commissioner Herzog and a second from Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes?
Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, this decision we just made is appealable to the Board of Supervisors, and any person that commented today needs to submit an appeal to the CEDRA within 10 days, and the cost of the appeal is $688. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the next item.
Chair, can we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, I've been thinking about asking that question, and so that would be fine. And so we'll take a 5-minute break till about, for about 5 minutes. So we'll see you all back here in 5 minutes.
We'll return at 12:38.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready to go again? Almost. I see 4 of us. Oh, I see 5 of us. Okay, we're ready to go. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay, so this one will be a public hearing on the Creekview Ranch project. I think we've seen this a little bit before in the draft environmental document, but we're going to have a presentation by staff today on this, and as it's mainly a public comment period, but the commissioners can also comment, and we won't be making a decision today. So let me see, staff-wise, we're going to have Christopher. Apparently he's going to be the one that is going to make the presentation to us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Chris Schmidt of the Planning Services Division. Your next item is to receive public comment on the draft EIR prepared for the Creekview Ranch project. The project is proposed by Cook Development Consulting Services on behalf of the property owner. The purpose of today's hearing, as I said, is to receive public comment on the draft document. CEQA law encourages such a hearing. It's county policy to conduct public hearings on all EIRs that eventually come to the Planning Commission. So this hearing reviews the adequacy of the draft EIR, and it's not an opportunity to debate the merits of the project. That'll happen down the line as the Planning Commission will be making a recommendation to the board for consideration of the final EIR and the requested entitlements necessary for the project. So notice of today's meeting was sent to adjacent property owners within 500 feet of the site, and that includes 33 owners. We sent notice to 2 people who commented on the notice of preparation, provided notice and the draft document to the Rockland and Roseville Public Libraries. The document is also available for review in the CEDRA offices and county clerk's offices. We also sent notice to state and federal agencies and tribes, public agencies, including the serving school districts, various county departments, the Drag Creek West Placer Municipal Advisory Council, and also placed a notice in the Sacramento Bee newspaper. So the project site is in the Drag Creek area, west of Roseville. 2 parcels, one north of PFE Road and one at the southeast corner of Antelope and PFE Road. So the northern parcel is known as the Shell House parcel, 141 acres. It contains a residence and some outbuildings, but is mostly vacant. It is also bordered on the north by Drag Creek, some industrial uses on the east, a large lot residential on the west and the southwest. And the second parcel is the Placer Greens parcel, 44 acres at the corner of Antelope and PFE Road. That is all vacant, no development there. There is a tributary to Drag Creek on the eastern border, industrial uses to the east and to the south, and large lot residential to the west. So total project site is 185.6 acres. Couple pictures of the Shell House parcel, the Drag Creek corridor is on the left, and the homestead, the existing residence on the site, is on the right. And then Placer Greens parcel on the left, you can
Chris,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but your presentation isn't scrolling down while you're speaking.
Oh, no. Let me go back to this. How's that?
Now it's just all of us, so share again. Sorry about that. There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
So this is the project site. It's two parcels, north and south of PFE Road, Shell House on the north and Placer Greens on the south. The Shell House parcel, 141 acres, Placer Greens parcel, 44 acres, total project site, 185.6 acres. These are the pictures of Shell House, the creek corridor on the left, the existing residence and outbuildings on the right. And then for Placer Greens, the tributary corridor on the left and grassland vacant on the right. So the proposed project is all single-family detached residential of 597 lots. Encompasses 10 different villages, including alley-loaded product, so home sites where the garage is behind the house. And you can see those villages are in the shaded dark yellow toward in the center of the project site. 4 gated entryways, 3 off of PFE Road and 1 off of Antelope Road. 5 parks are proposed, totaling 9.7 acres, 1.7 miles of trails, both public and private. In total, 66 acres of the project site, including the Drag Creek corridor and the tributaries, will be left as open space. So we've got different villages with different product type, different lot sizes. The lot sizes range from 3,400 to 9,774 square feet. It's envisioned that 1 or more builders would construct the homes. A bunch of necessary entitlements, including a general plan amendment to change the land use designation from low density, high density, greenbelt open space, commercial and industrial to medium density residential, a little bit of industrial and some open space zoning or land use designation. The second is a general plan amendment to remove a potential fire station that's shown on the land use plan of the Drag Creek West Placer Community Plan land use diagram. Also a general plan amendment to modify the county's required industrial residential buffering standards. Also a rezone from a bunch of zoning districts, including farm development reserve, office professional industrial park, to residential single family, combining a minimum building site of 3,000 square feet, open space, and also industrial, combining use permit, combining design scenic corridor. Oops, sorry. Also looking for approval of vesting large lot tentative map to allow for the phased development of the 10 villages, a phased tentative subdivision map to split the 185 acre site into 597 lot residential single family subdivision. Also needs a variance to establish development standards for the alley loaded product in the R3B3 zoning district. And finally, a conditional use permit to allow parks within the open space zoning district. So a little bit of a timeline. We did publish a notice of preparation back in July of 2021. The public comment period on the NOP lasted from July 19th to August 17th. We did have a scoping meeting on August 5th of 2021. The draft EIR that's under consideration today was released for public review and comment on December 19th. So the draft EIR looks at these environmental topics, and then the 9 highlighted topics are issues which have mitigation measures in the document. So even with mitigation, there is 2 significant unavoidable impacts, and that's dealing with the conversion of the site from open space and rural and agriculture to a residential single family. So even with landscaping and screening, you're still going to change the character of the site. So that is significant and unavoidable. So state law requires us to look at various alternatives, and there were 4 alternatives considered in the draft EIR, including the no project, nothing happened alternative, developing the site under existing community plan designations, also looked at a planned residential development rezone alternative, and then also a reduced density alternative. So under the existing community plan alternative, the project would include 206 low and high density residential uses, which is the yellow and the orange shown on the map, but also 152,000 square feet of commercial use, which is the red, and almost 1 million square feet of industrial space. So this is what could be developed under the existing community plan designation of the site. If we went residential, planned residential development rezone, we would add basically double the housing units from the previous alternative. So 407 low and high density units, the same amount of commercial and industrial space. And then looking at a low density, so everything goes to low density residential, we're looking at 364 housing units. So comparing the 3 alternatives, the no project, no build would be the environmentally superior alternative. However, it would not meet any of the project objectives. Both the existing community plan and the planned development rezone alternative result in greater impacts, and that's primarily because of the industrial and the commercial space. So therefore, the reduced density alternative has been deemed the environmentally superior alternative, and it results in fewer impacts on the proposed project. And it's 7 reduced impacts, and then 4 similar impacts to the proposed project. Sorry about that. So beyond today's meeting to get comment on the draft EIR, there will be future opportunities for public comment. This draft EIR is being circulated for 45 days, and that public comment period ends on February 1st at 5 o'clock. So any person who submits a written or oral comment on the draft EIR will receive a formal response to the comment and a copy of the final EIR when it's completed. We'll be heading to the Dry Creek Western MAC as an action item for their recommendation, and that'll happen sometime this spring. We'll be coming back to the commission for a recommendation to the board, also anticipated this spring. And then ultimately, since there's a GPA rezone, it'll head to the Board of Supervisors for the entitlement hearing in late spring. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if there are no questions, we can open it for public comment.
Chris, I have a question. It might be a dumb question. PFE Road, I live near Walerga and Vineyard. I thought that south of PFE was Antelope.
It is. This stretch right here is Antelope Road.
No, the city of Antelope in Sacramento County.
The border is just a little bit off this map, so it's a little bit south.
Okay. Because if you go a little bit to the east at Walerga Road, that becomes Sacramento County. So just very, very shortly down the road.
It narrows, it angles to the northwest, and the county border gets really close to PFE Road.
Okay, I did not know that. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you, Chris. I know in the past there's been some development in these areas where there were specific religious sites designated for the development. And I don't see any, and I don't believe there are any in this development. They're not pointed out. And I know that on residential lots, you can build religious facilities, but I just want to know, are there any in particular in this development?
No, what you'll usually see in the specific plans are sites designated for religious facilities. So this does not have that. It does have a designation for a future fire station And that was on the land use diagram of the community plan prepared about 20 years ago. And when those designations are put on the map, it's really long-range thinking that not necessarily on this site we need a fire station, but down the line, we're probably going to need a fire station on the eastern edge of the community plan area. But we talked to CAL FIRE, and with the planned Placer Vineyards fire station, the existing fire station on northwest of here, they don't need a fire station here. But we do need the community plan amendment to remove that from the land use map.
I just want to thank you for that additional comment about the fire station. I think, with these, we know there's a lot of development planned out here, and we want to think wisely about, these large populations growing in the west side of the county. And so I just wanted to ask that for specifically, because I know that even in the past, we've removed some of them.
Nathan, I live in this area. I can tell you right now, the bottom left square where it's black and green and yellow over on the left, there's a church right there on that corner. And then if you go up to the very, very top of that other black square where there's open space, right there is a church. I wish I could show you with my little pointer. There's two inside this square, but not in this development, if you cared.
Yeah,
if you were interested.
Thanks.
Okay, is that it for the commissioners' questions? And so, let me see, we'll give Mr. Cook a chance if he's on to comment at this point. Or another representative of the project.
Mr. Cook, you appear to be unmuted and should be able to comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Wasn't certain if that unmuted it. No, I'm happy to answer any questions, but Chris's presentation, as usual, is very thorough, and I don't have anything to add at this point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cook. Let me see, at this time, I'll open it up to public comment. And so anybody that is online here would like to comment on this project, you're welcome to do it right now. See, we have two participants. Raise their hand.
Mr. Cook. And we have the host of the WWHOA.
Hi, I'm not here for this particular item on your agenda, but one thing I'm just looking at is it seems like these developments get created, they bring in a lot more traffic and a lot more people to the area, yet they don't seem to have any requirement to widen roads or bridges or make traffic mitigation efforts part of the developer's cost. And as a result, things fall back onto the taxpayer to pay for correcting traffic jams and narrow roads and so forth. I mean, Highway 65 was an example of that. All that development happened north of us, yet the access to that massive number of cars was just ridiculously developed, and that we had to spend millions to widen that bridge and change the freeway access and so forth. So I'm just curious as to why the developer isn't responsible for beefing up the infrastructure, and not just roads, but sewers, water, etc.
Okay, is that your comment?
Yes, that's my comment.
Give us your name.
Nanette Johnston.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oops. Yeah, sorry.
There's no one else.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to respond to that, or should we have Chris respond?
Well, you can go ahead and respond to that if you want right now, or I was going to give you a chance later, but I see we have another person that's raised their hand. So, but you can go ahead.
Well, let's wait and we can address all comments at once. I didn't realize there was somebody else.
Okay, that would be best. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, there's somebody by the name of Troy.
Hi, Troy. You can go ahead and unmute, state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comment.
My name is Troy Simpson. I just basically had 2 quick questions. When was the proposed groundbreaking of this project going to happen? And during the construction of this project, how will the traffic be impeded in that PFE Antelope intersection? Or will the traffic be impeded?
Okay, is that it, Troy? Is
That's
that
it. That's the only questions I had.
Okay, what was your name again?
Troy Simpson.
Troy Simpson. Okay, well, thank you.
No one else.
Is that it? Okay, well, it appears that we've run out of public comment on this, so at any rate, Mr. Cook, if you'd like to address the things that came up, you're sure welcome to do that now. Of course, you'll have to unmute your.
Understood. Are you closing the public comment period, or are my responses included within that?
Oh, I'll close the public comment period. I think we're done now. So you're welcome to respond.
Okay. I understand that that's questions and concerns, but want to make it clear that as part of the project, there are significant infrastructure requirements that will be constructed and paid for by the project, frontage roads, road widening, multiple signals, and a sewer lift station. So again, while I understand that, that's not the situation whatsoever with this project and with most other residential developments within the county. In regard to Troy's questions, groundbreaking for the first phase, which would include the sewer lift station, might occur late this summer, but with the changes in the economic environment, it may not be until next year. But we are working on improvement plans for the initial phase on the east side. In regard to traffic impacts on a temporary basis, there should be none at Antelope and PFE. Ultimately, that will be a 4-way signalized intersection. But certainly there will be interruptions along PFE as we start with frontage widening, consistent with any project improvements. But those will be addressed as part of the improvement plans and traffic control plans that will be required by the county. So that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions of the commissioners if necessary.
Okay, commissioners, any questions at this point? Not seeing any. Any comments from the commissioners?
None from me.
Well, thank you, Commission. The public comment period for this project ends at 5 p.m. on February 1st, 2023. A hard copy comments can be mailed to the address shown on the screen. Also email at cedra.ecs@placer.ca.gov. And the document itself is on the county's website. Just Google search Placer County EIRs. Thank you.
Okay, well, let me see, there's no decision that's going to be made today on this, but if there's any last minute comments, you're welcome to make it. Otherwise, we'll finish off the meeting. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll close the meeting and see you on the 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all.